Hey guys, welcome to this week's live. And after the last live, which if you missed it, you can go back and catch it. You can catch it on our YouTube channel, or you can go back and find the live stream wherever you are on Facebook or on LinkedIn on our page, and rewatched it. But we talked about all different types of service based business opportunities for nurses and just how much opportunity there is right now for service based businesses. So today we're talking about how to position your business, whether you just want to start one or whether you already have one and it's not doing as well as you'd like, or if you're just in a period of massive growth and you want to really level up and increase your revenue, add service lines. We want to talk about how to position your business so it gets clients and serves them really well. After all, it is a service based business. We're doing this because we truly want to help people and we want to make an impact. So, after the last live, there are really two groups of people here. Okay. So, some of you are thinking, I don't even know what I would do yet. Some of you are thinking, I already have something, but it's not working. And maybe some of you who are in a totally different phase are in the scaling season of your business and you're looking at ways to diversify, ways to add revenue streams, and ways to grow. This should be beneficial for everybody because it all comes back to the same issue of having clarity into who you serve, how you serve. And really, when you don't have that clarity, it's very challenging. There's a lot of friction that happens in those periods. I've been in those periods where you feel like you're not sure what you're supposed to be doing or you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's not about more effort. It's not about you being capable or having the skills. It's about being aligned and having the clarity you need to be growing a business that serves people really well. So you don't need more ideas. You don't need to do more things, right? I think as nurses, we have so many ideas of things that we could do and ways that we could fix things, and we're trying to do them all at once, and none of them are working well. And it feels really hard. So if you add more ideas and you just try harder, that actually just contributes to the friction and resistance. So we need to undo those learned beliefs that we have as nurses that we need to work harder, try harder, do more, perform, perform, perform. I am here today to shut that down. That is not what makes a great business. I have learned that. I've learned that in my career, working my way up from a field nurse to corporate to C-suite, and then losing my job. No matter how hard I worked, it wasn't good enough. No matter what I did, it didn't give me the results that I wanted. And so I learned that this performance-based success was a lie. And in business, I've really had to take that to heart because otherwise I would be killing myself to have a business that worked well and that I loved, but I wouldn't be enjoying it. And so I want that for you as well. We really need something clear, something specific, and something easy for someone else to say yes to. So if that's missing in your business, you're going to stay stuck. You're going to stay stagnant. You're not going to be getting the clients, the visibility, no matter how hard you work and how motivated you are to do it. Because if people don't understand what solution you offer, they're not going to be waving their hands, me, 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 if they can't understand what they get, what service you provide, what outcome they get from the service. Something I talk a lot about is when we position our service as our actions. I'm going to talk a lot more about this in some content inside of the membership that we're working on right now, but I want to just touch on it here really quick. Clients don't care what actions you're going to perform, so they don't want to know, I'm going to type a report that's going to take me an hour. I'm going to charge for that hour. I'm going to spend 6 hours on Zoom calls with you over the next 6 months. They don't care. I'm going to have at least 6 hours in admin time that I'm going to spend working on your stuff. They don't care. They care what the outcome is. How are they going to feel when you have executed that service well? Are they going to feel more confident? Are they going to feel refreshed and energized? Are they going to feel lighter? Are they going to feel like their finances are finally in control? Are they going to feel healthy? Are they going to feel young? Are they going to feel beautiful? These are the things that people care about and organizations care about. Maybe an organization doesn't care if it feels beautiful, but if you're doing consulting, an organization needs to feel like their workflows are under control, their turnover is under control, their risk is under control, their revenue is under control. They need to feel like they're meeting their goals and going the right direction with their strategy. They have the support they need, they have the processes they need in place. So, these are the things as a service based business provider. And again, if you didn't watch last week, we talked about at least 6 different categories of service providers. So I think that could be really helpful for you. If you're not sure what service provider is, go back and watch last week, because these are nurses that provide a service. There's a million opportunities to do this right now. But the first way to do this, the first way I would recommend, step one, is to start with what you already do well. So, or audit what you're already doing and offering if you have a business. What's going well? What is selling? This is an area I'm so embarrassed about this because this makes me feel so dumb when I talk about this, but it's true. I really was dumb. Um, my first year in business, so in 2020, I was trying to sell a program to long-term care facilities. I talked to over 25 CEOs in 2020 for long-term care facilities about my Save Our Staffing program. It was a staffing program that I spent countless hours developing, spent $1,500 building out a beautiful ClickUp dashboard that I never once ever touched because no one ever bought that program. But you know what I was making money on during that time was helping a hospice get accredited, helping switch their accreditation from CHAP to ACHC. Maybe you've heard this story already. I've told this story several times for the NNBA and different conferences and things that I've spoke at, but I was sitting here putting all this energy and effort into something that no one wanted and not being able to figure out why it wasn't working. And then I look back and I'm like, Nena, you were actually already doing something that was working. I was actually already helping a hospice with accreditation, and they were paying me $150 an hour to do that. I made almost $200,000 my first year in business on accreditation support for a hospice and on coaching support for directors of nursing. And here I am spending countless hours putting myself out there trying to sell a program no one wanted because there wasn't a need for it. It wasn't something they were willing to pay for. They didn't connect that staffing training to reducing their turnover. They didn't connect that program to controlled revenue, increased revenue, decreased risk, decreased turnover. It wasn't something they saw they needed. They weren't willing to pay for it. And I wasn't willing to accept that. Imagine how much easier the next couple years of my business would have been had I not been trying to pitch to long-term care facilities that whole time. Imagine if I had been reaching out to hospices instead that whole time, making connections with hospices about accreditation. Imagine that. Imagine how many more clients I would have had because that was something someone needed help with and was already paying me to do and had a great outcome from, had a great accreditation survey passed, right? So start with what you're already doing, with what is already working and what you already do well. What are people already paying you for, already coming to you for, already asking you for? Something you know confidently that you can do. So, and if you're already in business, is your current offer based on your strongest skills? Is it based on what you've had the most success with, or is it the one you just like the most? I think sometimes we get in our head that something should. If you hear the word should, you just pause for a second because there's something wrapped up in that you need to look at. If you feel like this should be working and it's not, you need to take a step back because that word should is a loaded gun. Okay, step back and say, should this be working? Why do I think this should be working? What is actually working? A lot of nurses build offers around what sounds good and not what they're actually known for, what someone else is doing because it seems like that they should be good at that too, or because it's appealing to them, but not what they've actually done in the past. We should be building our own businesses on our expertise, what we have done with our license and learned in our experience as a nurse, okay? Because that's what we're experts in. And we we can charge premium rates for that because we've done it successfully. So, um, you know, if your offer doesn't match what you naturally do well, it's going to be really hard to sell it. You're going to notice that resistance, that friction, that tension, because it's going to feel forced. It's going to be very hard to sell something that you're not actually aligned with. I have been there, and experienced this firsthand. So the second way, step 2, is to focus on a real, repeated, repetitive problem that an organization or person has. Your offer should be a solution to a problem. I'm going to say that again. If you are a service-based provider, your offer should be built on a problem, on the solution to a problem. So we want to make sure your offer solves something that repeatedly occurs and is a negative thing for an organization or a person. So what problems do you keep seeing, right? We've all seen this in healthcare. This problem keeps happening and no one is fixing it. There is a solution you can offer. If you have made the solution anywhere you've worked as a nurse to a problem that repeatedly happened, you've already got an offer. It's right there. Are you solving a clear, urgent problem or something more vague and less tied to a specific outcome? There should be a specific solution with a real tangible outcome of what happens when you fix it. So a vague example of your real repeated problem would be, I improve patient care. That's great. I'm really supportive of that. However, that is not clear and specific enough. Why is patient care suffering? Why is the quality of care low? Maybe it's because there's documentation errors. Maybe it's because there's staffing issues. Maybe it's because the nurses don't know what to look for that's going to be audited. So a vague coaching statement might be, I help support nurses with coaching. Well, that's great, but what do they get from that coaching? What is the problem they're experiencing? So more clear might be, I help new nurse managers lead their teams with structure and confidence, right? So we want to be really specific in what we do, how we do it, and what the outcome is, and not vague or general. So people don't pay for support, right? They pay for what they get from the support. They pay to solve a specific problem being fixed, a pain and a promise. This was one of my early coaches talked about. The pain and the promise are two things we should speak to related to a problem. The pain that they experience from this repetitive problem and the promise of how we can help them and what outcome they'll get. So the next step, the next natural thing that we can do to move into doing that is to get specific about who it's really for. So who actually needs your solution? One of the biggest issues I see is that sometimes we are speaking to people who either aren't the right person for our solution, can't pay for it, or don't want it. If you're speaking to people who are, divorced about improving their marriage, it's going to be really hard to get them to buy your product, right? You need to be speaking to the right person who actually needs my product. Well, if it's about improving your marriage, then married people need your product, right? For those already in business, are you trying to speak to everyone? Are you trying to make sure that everyone who could ever possibly need your service feels included? Because unfortunately, in the era that we're in of the internets, that is not how you move your offer forward. You need to be speaking to someone very specific, and then you'll find that the people who hear that message understand that it's also for them. One example would be, I message mostly to hospices for accreditation. However, I have home care and home health reaching out to me constantly about quality, QA, QAPI, accreditation, all kinds of things, startup. And those are not things I typically message that are services. I typically message that I do hospice accreditation, education, and compliance. But those other providers know, well, if she can help a hospice with that, we're set up very similar, she could probably help us. And they come to me and ask, will you help me with this? And I say, absolutely. So speak to the more specific. One thing I've taught multiple times in workshops for the NNBA and other associations and other courses that I've taught is that you either need a small message to a large audience, or you need a large message to a very small audience. So a large message would be wellness, but you can't have a large message and a large audience. Wellness for anyone. You're going to get lost. It's red ocean. You're going to get eaten by the sharks because there is a million billion wellness providers and wellness products and wellness solutions. So you need to narrow your message to be much smaller, or narrow your audience to be much smaller. You could make your audience smaller by saying this is for perimenopausal women, wellness for perimenopausal women. Or you could make your message smaller and say all whole food diets for wellness and immunity. And that could be for anyone, men, women, children, anybody. But you need to either make your message small and make your audience big, or make your audience small and make your message big. Otherwise, it's going to get lost in the weeds. So I help healthcare professionals, may be too broad. That's a good niche, but you may need to keep going and saying, I help healthcare professionals who work third shift, right? That's a lot more specific. I help Christian healthcare professionals. That's a lot more specific. I help women nurses. That's a lot more specific. So we need to get as specific as possible to make our message more clear. If your message could apply to literally anyone, it probably won't land with anyone, because your audience can feel that that message is vague and not hitting. It needs to be powerful. It needs to hit hard. It needs to be specific. Like, oh my gosh, they are talking to me. This is for me. I know that. If you think about the last time you bought something, you probably looked at it and thought, that is for me. I am getting that. Whatever it was, you knew it was made just for you, right? So your message, your offer, and your service should hit just like that. The fourth step is to simplify your offer. We make things too confusing for people. They don't understand. They should be able to look at it immediately and know it's for them. Start with one service. You shouldn't have 5 things to choose from. You shouldn't have 5 different programs right now, especially if you're just starting out. If you're already in business and you're adding revenue streams, that's totally different. But just starting out, you need to stay with one idea until it's making money. I'm going to say that to you again. This is for you. Stay with one idea until it's making money. You cannot add 5 different programs. You cannot do 5 different services and expect that they all land and that you have the energy to finish them all and market them all and deliver them all. Pick the easiest one, the one with the least resistance. I talk about the ICE matrix all the time. It is a very simple way to choose which one you should be doing right now. ICE stands for impact, C stands for confidence, E stands for ease. If you wrote down every idea you had, every service you want to offer, and you score them by impact, confidence, and ease, how impactful is this? How confident am I in delivering this? How easy would it be to launch this right now? Add them up or multiply them, doesn't matter, across the row, and then rank them, score them 1 to 10, add it all up, start with the highest rated number, because that is the one I think you're supposed to multiply them across the row. Start with the highest number, and that is the one you should be working on right now. So if you're like, oh, I can't decide what I'm supposed to do, that's the best way to do it. List out every idea you have, rank them 1 to 10, multiply across the row, take the absolute highest number, highlight it green, and start there. Okay. Because the longer you spend deciding, the less money you're making off of a service, right? You need to put 110% into one thing until it's making as much as possible. I know of I think it was Russell Brunson, but I don't want to say that if it's wrong, but yeah, from ClickFunnels, you should make $1 million on one service before you add anything else, I think is what he said in his book, which is crazy when you think about it. You know, you're like, oh my gosh, $1 million on one thing. But that's how serious this is. That's how much time and effort you need to put into your first offer. It should be making enough money that you can start building your business off of it before you add anything else. Um, so don't overcomplicate what you're offering. Start with one service. Too many options, too many services, and too many directions does a few things. It confuses the client and it overwhelms you. Both of those are not good, right? So instead of offering consulting, coaching, education, audits, start with I help X solve Y through Z. I help women with perimenopause solve their symptoms through coaching. And that's your whole offer. That's it. That's the offer. One thing. Simplicity and clarity convert. They work really well. There's no resistance there. Complexity confuses people, overwhelms people, then they don't choose anything at all. They back away. There's distance there. There's friction there. There's resistance there. There's decision fatigue. They should be able to know what you do and choose it immediately. I know that's for me. And then step 5, or way number 5, is talk about it, right? New and established businesses both forget this. Newer nurses hesitate to start. They don't share what they're doing because it's not working yet. Well, if I share this and I'm telling people about it and it fails, then they'll know I'm a failure and they'll make fun of me, right? Or I don't know what your particular um, reason for not sharing your business is. Maybe you don't want to feel, I know a lot of nurses don't want to feel like they're self-promoting because it's gross or it's salesy. They don't want attention. They don't want to be in the spotlight. I totally get that. I feel that. However, it is a part of business to promote what you do so that the people out there who need it can see it. Because if you don't, somebody who needs that from you isn't going to get it. There's somebody who needs what you offer. And if you don't share it, they won't get it. So it's really important to be talking about what you do. You don't have to lie. You don't have to say, I have a $1 billion business coaching nurses on family dynamics and improving their relationships. No, you can say, I'm exploring, I have been providing nurses with support. I have been coaching nurses. I am trying to coach nurses. I am starting to coach nurses. I've just started exploring coaching nurses with relationships, with their weight, with hormones, whatever it is you do. You should be talking about this nonstop because you will be shocked how much clients, how many clients, how much visibility this helps you get. So don't hesitate to be talking about it, even if you don't have clients, especially if you don't have clients. You should be telling everyone what you do, what you want to do. It can just be a conversation of everyone you know who will listen to me, literally who will listen to me talk about what I want to do. Hey, here's what I want to do. Is there anybody you know who that I could talk to that this would help? Do you know anybody who has this problem? Do you have any friends who would be willing to talk to me about this? You can do it any way you feel comfortable, but start talking about it. For those already in business, sometimes we get inconsistent or unclear in how we show up. We forget, about our original offer, and we start trying to add revenue streams and forget about where our bread is being buttered, right? So we get distracted. We start putting our energy into one thing and not bringing on enough help to start a new thing. So we're inconsistent or unclear in how we show up. So are you clearly saying what you're an expert in? Are you telling people who you help and how you help them, or want to help and want to help them? Are you having real conversations about your business regularly? Sometimes those of us that are already in business just assume everyone knows we're already in business. And you'll find out that they do not. They do not know what you do. They didn't know you had your own business, or they didn't really understand what you actually do. So you don't get clients from thinking about your business. And that's unfortunate because we spend a lot of time thinking about it and not enough time talking about it. You get clients from being visible and clear and sharing how you help. So whether you're starting or you're already in it, if you're not getting clients, if your revenue is not growing year over year, it's probably because your offer isn't clear, your problem isn't specific, your audience or your message is too broad, or your message is confusing people, there's too much going on, or you're not consistently sharing or talking about what you want people to do and how you can help them. The good news is this is all fixable. This is all fixable quickly. You can fix this today, right? Start having conversations, make a list of who you could talk to, look at your offer, write it down, and clarify it. The other thing is, we are having this amazing workshop just for this in Nashville, May 1st and 2nd. This is literally where we identify the gaps and how to help you fix it. So, we're going to be building out these pieces, services, pricing, messaging, visibility, and getting clients in Nashville in person in a small group together. So we're going to help you refine your offer, get clear on who it's for, help you get positioned so people actually understand it, and then give you direction on exactly how to get clients. So you don't leave still thinking about how am I going to do this? You will leave with a plan and something that actually is proven to work. So I think it's important that you ask yourself the questions that we've talked about today. Is my idea unclear? Is my message unclear? Those things, asking those questions are going to really help you understand where to focus your time and effort. I would also say, and nobody likes this, so sorry, we usually understand ourselves really well. I understand what I mean, right? When I say crazy things and I can see people's face and they're like, I don't understand anything you just said. I understood it. So ask some other people to look at your offer, have a couple conversations. I don't recommend friends and family because they'll tell you what you want to hear. They're your cheerleaders. They love you. They don't want to hurt your feelings. Find somebody a little removed and say that you still feel comfortable talking to, and say, hey, I would love to share what I'm doing with you. And if you would just give me feedback, I'm not trying to sell you anything. If you would just give me feedback on what questions you have, if you understand what I'm doing, and if you feel like my message is clear of who I'm actually talking to. So it's really important that we have that feedback because we're not really great at grading ourselves. We generally understand what we are trying to do. So I would love to have you with me at the Build and Launch workshop. We're building and launching six-figure service business for nurses in Nashville, May 1st and 2nd. Feel free to email me, Nena@nursesbusiness.com, if you have any questions, or Casey@nursesbusiness.com. We're both going to be there. This is in Nashville, May 1st and 2nd. We're going to build our businesses together. And I haven't even announced this yet. We're also going to help you market it. We're going to help you get visibility. We're going to put you out there to our lists and our contacts to get eyes on your services. So that is a huge bonus that we just added for these remaining seats. We have 3 VIP seats left and just a few general admission. I think we have a handful of general admission left and 3 VIP seats left. So for that VIP, you're going to get coaching before and after the event, private coaching and a strategy built for the growth of your business, and an amazing gift bag. If you can see all the boxes behind me, all those Amazon boxes back there are our gift bags. So I'm putting all those together now. You're going to get an amazing binder with exactly what you need for the next 90 days and exactly how you can build and scale your service-based business. So if you have any questions on that, reach out to us. I'd love to see you there. Thanks for coming to our live, and we'll see you next week.